The deck gets destroyed, but it comes back every damn time. It is super annoying to deal with and has a lot of explosive potential. It's going to get a lot of support, and you can take this deck in two different ways with the new support of either the Adventure Package or the addition of Trouble Sunny. Live Twin Unchained, let's go. We're just going to go over what the basic game plan is, and essentially you have two kinds of engines in this deck. So first of all, you have the Live Twins. These are a link spam based deck where you essentially just link summon into a bunch of link 2s that tag each other out from the graveyard, and you're able to draw cards and destroy cards on the field really easily. You can also then link into things like Unchained Abomination for lots of extra pops during your opponent's turn and during your turn as well. And you're also able to make things like Underworld Goddess extremely easily, and also link Climb into Nightmare Unicorn and then Access Code Talker, which I dare say is pretty damn strong. And the second portion to this deck is the Unchained portion. The Unchained monsters are all really good, but the main monsters you're using, all on destruction, except by their own effects, will summon another from the deck. And this includes the back row, so Harpy's Feather Duster can actually be a huge boost to your strategy. The Unchained Link monsters, other than Abomination, can also steal your opponent's monsters to link summon. You can link summon during your opponent's turn into either a Nightmare Unicorn or into another Unchained monster, which can then, on your turn, steal any monster your opponent controls to make something like an Access Code Talker. This deck is an absolute blast, so we're gonna go through the replays immediately. Okay, so in this replay, we're gonna go over what the Unchained portion of this deck can do. It's pretty nuts because it doesn't goddamn die. If you've seen the thumbnail, you'll know exactly the feeling. It's just holding a gun up to you. You pop one and another one comes back from deck. Of course, banishing, removal, and all that can screw this deck over, but Lightning Storm may do anything to you, or Raigeki, or Dark Hole, and those are the more annoying ones. Non-targeting, non-destruction removal is more common with big boss monsters, and with the Unchained archetype, you can always just interrupt their setup, so all they can really do is use their destruction cards, but oh look, you benefit from that, so it's really funny. Anyways, in this hand we've opened 2 copies of Ash Blossom, which I think I use all 3 in this duel, I don't remember for sure, but we more importantly open Unchained Abomination, Abominable Unchained Soul, and the Abomination's Prison. So Abomination's Prison is a back row in the archetype, and when it's destroyed by card effect, it can then special summon any Unchained from your deck. That's pretty nice, but we're going to use it to search in this case. And we're going to end on a monster that you might know from the thumbnail called Unchained Twins Aruha. It's probably the best card in the deck because it also lets you set up your basic combos. And you also have cards like Abominable Unchained Soul, where if a card is destroyed anywhere on the field, it can special summon itself, and then it can discard 1 to non-targeting destroy something on the field. Additionally, if it wasn't the turn that it was summoned, and it was destroyed and sent to the graveyard, it can put itself back on the field, but then put itself back in the deck when it's removed, which is actually a really big benefit since you can then just recycle it by summoning it off of your other Unchained monsters and getting more destructions off of it. Additionally, our link monsters that let us steal our opponent's monsters for link summons use the Abominable Unchained Souls, or any card that says Unchained Soul in the name, so that's incredibly important to know. Anyways, let's see what exactly happens here. We are going second, which the Unchained portion of this deck actually does not struggle with at all. The great part of playing Unchained is that it's really good going second. So, of course, our opponent tries to use a Witchcrafter spell, we chain Ash, we get called by, so, you know, it is what it is, but hey, we drew 2, which is a bit unfair, so I'd say that's fine. We're gonna go ahead and speed this up. So our opponent just passes. That's a little weird, honestly. This person does not seem to be playing a grass looks greener variant of Witchcrafter, which is a little bit interesting. But anyways, we're just gonna go ahead and stall. Pretty much, that's exactly what the name of the game is here. So we draw Forbidden Droplet, that's incredibly powerful. We're going to go ahead and set it and then activate the Prison to search for Aruha. Aruha can let you destroy a card you control to then special summon itself from the hand, but you're locked out of summoning anything but Fiends for the rest of the turn. Now, what's great about this is that Fiends are literally what this deck loves. The Evil Twins, part of the Live Twin portion, are Fiends. Your Underworld Goddess, your Unchained Abomination, and all your Unchained stuff are Fiends, so this is fine. And if you have an Unchained back row, like if you had drawn Abomination's Prison and Aruha, you could just pop the back row to summon the Aruha, and then get a free summon from the deck. Ideally, it would be one of the two Unchained one of the Unchained Souls, either this or the Blue Dog, one that you only run one of in your deck, really, and it might come up, actually, so we're gonna see how this goes. So we're gonna summon Aruha and just smack in. Aruha will not leave us hanging. It'll just float into more Unchained monsters, and we're gonna just float this Aruha, if it gets destroyed, into another Unchained monster that can float into another one, etc., vice versa. It's absolutely, absolutely fun. So we end up ashing their Shmieta, and then they end up setting one back for a pass. That's fine. We just smack in again. That's all we really do. This person activates Patronus. This is our third copy of Ash, I believe? Yeah, it's a little bit absurd, Anyways, we punch in for 1500 and just leave it there. We're just absolutely chilling. We have a card to discard off of the Abominable Unchained Soul since we can't access our Live Twin stuff, and that pretty much means the card in our hand is dead. So this dude summons Hyena, and then off of the Hyena, destroying our Aruha, we are going to go ahead and trigger Aruha and the Soul. So we're going to summon the Soul, discard the Frost in order to get a pop, but we also summoned Rakea. What Rakea can do is it can quick effect destroy any other card you control, and while it cannot float into another Unchained off of its own effect, normally if you can get a Rakea as well as an Aruha on the field, it's incredibly potent. So anyways, we go ahead and pop their monster and they pass the turn, and well, next turn, I believe we're just able to swing in for exactly game by normal summoning a Live Twin Kiss-a-Kill and just absolutely demolishing our opponent. Okay, so in this case, we've drawn really good. So if our opponent happens to max CS, we can get rid of that. We have Forbidden Droplet as a bit of a last case resort if our opponent builds a huge field. And we also have a Searcher spell for the archetype. Now, you could run the other search spell in the archetype, which can search this out. It's an ultra though, it's a bit expensive, and to keep the core small, we're only choosing to run this spell instead. On activation, it can add a Live Twin from your deck to your hand. This is almost always Ash bait, and you always want to add either a Kiss-a-Kill or a Lilla from your deck to your hand. So essentially how the Live Twins work is that Live Twin Kiss-a-Kill can summon a Lilla monster from your deck. That can include this kind of Lilla or the regular Lilla, which isn't themed after Halloween and Frankenstein over here. And additionally, you can link those guys off into either summoning a Live Twin, Evil Twin Lilla or Evil Twin Kiss-a-Kill. Now, if you do not control, let's say, if you have Kiss-a-Kill on the field, if you do not control a Lilla monster on the field, you can then special summon one from your graveyard as a quick effect. The same effect happens, but inversed for Kiss-a-Kill monsters if you have an Evil Twin Lilla. Additionally, you can then after that, for example, you summon the Evil Twin Kiss-a-Kill and you summon a Lilla from grave, link those two off into Evil Twin Lilla, which can then summon the Evil Twin Kiss-a-Kill from graveyard since it has that effect to do so. Now you just went from one card to two link two monsters. Additionally, as well, as if you summon Evil Twin Kiss-a-Kill to the field and you control a Lilla monster, you get to draw one. So essentially, using one Live Twin Kiss-a-Kill or Lilla, you're able to then basically go +2, I'd say? +1, +2, really depends on what else you have in your hand to absolutely make it worth it. And additionally, we can also talk about the other Live Twin monsters. Lilla Treat over here is just a simple extender. You only run one copy of this in literally any deck. If you control a Kiss-a-Kill monster to any way, shape, or form, you can special summon it to your side of the field. And if you control a Kiss-a-Kill Frost, which is the costume version of Kiss-a-Kill, you can special summon it to your side of the field if you control a Lilla monster. So essentially what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and use the Sunny Snitch in order to Ash bait. No Ash has been found, so we add that other extender. So now we have essentially a way to access Lilla from the deck and get our one card combo into making two Link 2s, and then we can, at the end of all of that, special summon these two guys, and then essentially make a Link 4 monster and leave one of our Evil Twins on the field. The reason we want to do this is so that we can tag another Evil Twin from the graveyard to our side of the field during our opponent's turn. If we, for example, leave an Evil Twin Kiss-a-Kill on the field and use a Lilla to make a Link 4 like Unchained Abomination, which we're going to do over here, we can tag out the Lilla that we sent to the graveyard back to the field and then get another pop. So the absolute potential of this is crazy. So anyways, we go ahead and get our combo off. This dude max sees us, and luckily we have the Ash Blossom, and since it's our turn, this dude can't exactly cross out or, use Call By. So we link those two off for Kiss-a-Kill, then Kiss-a-Kill will special summon a Lilla monster from the graveyard, then we're going to link those two off into an Evil Twin Lilla, and then we're going to do the exact same thing we did with the Kiss-a-Kill, but summon the Link instead. This will then get an effect to draw one. We draw into a Rakea. We would have ideally drawn into an Aruha since we could summon it and have extra floating potential, but this is fine. So then we summon two of our extenders, and then after that, we're going to link two of those off into an Unchained Abomination. Now, again, as I just said, we can use the Evil Twins Kiss a Kill's effect on our opponent's turn to summon a Lilla monster since we don't control one. So we can then use the Lilla's effect when it's special summoned via the Kiss a Kill during our opponent's turn to pop one card on the field. That'll then trigger Unchained Abomination to pop another card, which lets us pop 2. That's pretty formidable, and this can then pop a card during the end phase, so that is pop 3. Pretty damn nice when it comes to just overall kinds of disruption. Let's go ahead and proceed. Now, we set the Forbidden Droplet just in case so we can stop any spell trap and monster responses, but this dude kaiju's us. It's a little weird, but whatever. So this dude summons Grand Maju. This is very evident. Already normal summoned it, so we're gonna go ahead and pop that real quick with our Lilla. Now, this dude's playing, I believe, OTK version of Grand Maju. I have no clue what this is, right? It's very weird. But anyways, we're gonna use the extender in our graveyard, which allows us to draw one if our opponent adds cards to their hand. And well, we could have extended this duel longer, but our opponent decided to surrender and give us the game, so that's that. But that's what the live twin portion of the deck can do if left alone. Of course, we did get a little lucky and draw an extender, a searcher, as well as our one card starter. But, well, you can expect to do similar things, but make different Link 3s up to your discretion, or different other monsters, such as making things like IP Masquerania. Anyways though, we're then going to go ahead and look into one last replay, and this is a replay where we go absolutely monkey mode. This is where we open both the Unchained and the live twin monsters, and it's an absolute blast. I love it when we open like this, so I'll walk you guys through it. Okay, so let's go over this. So I mentioned that you could use Aruha to pop any Unchained back row to summon itself and then an Unchained soul from your deck. So that's exactly what we're going to do here, but since we have access to our live twins through the Searcher spell, we can go ahead and go through that line, and since we have Called By, we don't really have to worry about things like Maxi or Ash, but again, if our opponent has both in their hand, that's a little bit detrimental. We also have Forbidden Droplet, which is additionally just really, really good negation. It's incredibly good going second, which accompanies the Unchained cards extremely well. So let's just go ahead and see how we proceed with this turn. We're going to set those guys, then we're going to search for a Kiss a Kill. Then, since our opponent didn't Ash, we assume they might have a Maxi, so we're just going to go ahead and combo off and use Called By if we're threatened. Anyways, we link these off into what we did with our initial Evil Twin combo, where we're essentially just trying to get a free draw to see how much we can potentially plus. So this is all pretty standard. We're going to end up summoning that, getting a draw, and we end up drawing Ash. That's actually bonkers. If we didn't encounter Maxi, but if we do next turn, we know exactly what to do. So then we use the Aruha in order to pop our set trap, then use that to summon the other Unchained monster, the Doge. So the Doge has some effects. First of all, it gains 300 for each Unchained in your graveyard. This is not important, but it actually did win me a game against Shadal at one point. I streamed that actually, so maybe you want to check that VOD out. Additionally, it can also target a face-up monster on the field that your opponent controls, and then after it resolves, lets you link summon into an Unchained monster, I believe. Into a Dark Link monster, so it doesn't necessarily need to be Unchained, so it could be IP Masquerania, but in this case, we would normally want to summon an Unchained. Additionally, we can also use this as material for Unchained Link monsters other than Unchained Abomination. So we're going to go ahead and proceed with this line of play, and then we're going to link those guys off into Unchained Soul of Rage. This is a really funny card, so we can basically, during our opponent's main phase, target a special summon monster our opponent controls, and then link off using itself and that monster into whatever we want. And in this case, the best target is Nightmare Unicorn, but if we really want to have that much more recursion, we can choose to go into Unchained Soul of Anguish, which can spell speed 1, target any monster, not just a special summon monster, and link it off, which can be used to go into Access Code Talker. But in this case, we're just going to leave it at this, and set Called By, pass. This is already looking pretty solid. We can also special summon the Lilla from our graveyard to get an additional pop. This is a hero player, a little unfortunate. Uses the effect. We're going to go ahead and Ash that. We don't want you to play the game. We're sorry, but that's how it is, and that's the only kind of negation we play, so it's a little unfortunate for you. We're going to pop the Stratus, and then after that, homie will set 3 pass, which got me a little scared for a second, but this is heroes, so they're not really going to pack much back row punch. So we open an extender for the archetype of live twins. So essentially we're going to link those guys off for the Unchained Abomination, and then use the effect of Kiss a Kill to resurrect the Lilla from the graveyard and get an additional pop. And then the Unchained Abomination can pop, but this opponent ends up imperming the Unchained Abomination. So we can't really get that many pops on the field. That's fine, whatever. So then we link into Lila, since we haven't used its effect to resurrect, so that we can get another draw and see what we could possibly do. So this happens, we draw into a second extender, which we can use with Nightmare Unicorn to discard off, since it's fine. And we're going to link those guys off into a Nightmare Unicorn, and this is especially helpful since we're co-linked with the Kiss a Kill, which allows us to draw one after we discard. We draw into Maxi, and I felt like a bit of a Chad today, so I decided to normal summon the Maxi, even though I had exactly enough for game, but I didn't want to do the math, so I wasn't sure, at least at the time. So we're going to attempt to swing in for game here. It doesn't work. I don't remember what our opponent had to interrupt us. Uses Book of Eclipse. This is really stupid, because it just lets us draw 2 at the end of the turn right there, since it flips all face-up monsters face down on your opponent's side of the field, and then equal to the number of monsters you flipped face down, your opponent gets to draw that during the end phase, which is really stupid. We got a Sarama, which is our other type of twin. It's the worst one. It's not really worth talking about. And another trap, which lets you special summon cards from your graveyard. That special summoning might come in at some points in time. But anyways, our opponent decides to summon things. We end up burning them with Sunny Snitch's other effects. They're a little bit more unimportant. And unfortunately for them, we have the good old Forbidden Droplet. And then to prevent them from linking off or, for example, beating over anything via battle, we're going to go ahead and pop the Vision Hero Increase by special summoning a Lila from the graveyard. Pretty unfortunate for this opponent. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And actually, no, we get rid of the back row, and then we use the Abomination to pop their Vision Hero. And they pass. They scoop. Yeah, that's not unreasonable, so yeah. So basically 3 Maxi, 3 Ash, we have the 1 Nibiru. This is pretty standard. We run 2 Forbidden Droplet. This is an incredible staple to have, especially if you're going second next. 1 Imperm, we got it from the bundle, why not? 2 of the Called by the Graves, that's nice. We run 1 copy of Abominable Unchained Soul and 1 copy of Soul of Disaster. This card you never really want to see in your hand. You want to summon it from deck via your spells, traps, or monsters. This one, you can see it in your hand, but you need to have cards to discard as well as cards that can destroy in the first place to really keep this live. So it's a bit of a soft Garnet, but it's also incredibly strong at just managing the field. You could bump this up to 2, depending on how you really manage things. And we also play 3 copies of Aruha, it's the best one, 2 copies of Archaea, and 1 copy of Sarama. Sarama lets you target an Unchained in your graveyard, which could be a monster, and then set it to your side of the field, and then after that destroy card you control. It cannot float into things on its own destruction effects, which is what all the Unchained monsters have in common. But anyways, this could help you set some more back row, such as the Escape, which allows you to pop an Unchained and a card your opponent controls respectively, which is pretty okay. And yeah, we also play 2 Escape and 2 Abominable Chambers, which can be useful with their individual effects, but this is more useful if you want to end up getting more value off of just recurring your Unchains. Otherwise, you're really just using these guys as fodder to pop with either Archaea or the Aruha. Otherwise, the Live Twins, we play 3 copies of Kiss a Kill and Lila. These are incredibly powerful starters for the deck. They're 1-card starters into your basically +2 combo. You play 1 copy of Lila Treat, it's the worst of the extenders, and 2 copies of Kiss a Kill Frost, because you get to draw 1 if your opponent adds cards to their hand during their turn if you control an evil twin, which does come up occasionally, like it did in the replay against the Grand Magi player. So there's that. And we also play a DPE package. We play 2 copies of Fusion Destiny, a copy of Dasher and Celestial respectively. This, I feel like, could come up because, again, the deck is so reliant on destruction that you could end up summoning DPE and popping your own Unchained cards in order to get even more pluses and even more pops. It's really annoying for your opponent, and more importantly, it's not negation, so it's a little bit more fun and on the interactive side. Additionally, in the extra deck, we play the, of course, obligatory copy of DPE. We play the Nightmare Phoenix, just in case we have any problematic backer to deal with. We play the double Soul of Rage. This lets us quick effect link an opponent's monster off that's special summoned, specifically special summoned. We play 1 copy of Verte for the DPE, 3 copies of Kiss a Kill. This is the most important one because it allows us to draw 1 off of its little combo as we showed over there. We have 2 copies of Lila, it lets you pop 1. It's pretty decent too for breaking boards, but since you would rather go first with this deck, you're mostly going to just relegate this to later play or using it to just summon the Lila to the Kiss a Kill to get some draws. You play 1 copy of Unicorn and Access Code Talker. This is my favorite package in the game, basically. Summoning Unicorn, then Access Code Talker is just an easy way to wipe the field, and while we can only really wipe 2 cards using the effect of Access Code Talker, realistically, since this is a light and literally everything else here is a dark, except for Phoenix, it's a fire, of course it's a little quirky like that, it's still incredibly powerful of a play. We also play the copy of Unchained Soul of Anguish, which allows it to basically yoink an opponent's monster. It doesn't have to be special summoned, but it's a spell speed 1 effect, which is worth noting. We run the copy of Underworld Goddess. This is extremely easy to access with our Live Twin deck, essentially, and can help out things like the Arrival Cybers. And, well, that's pretty much it. You could choose to remove the DPE engine. I think it's fine. And you could just add more copies of Soul, more copies of Sarama, or more copies of Rikeya. I would recommend bumping copies of Sarama up to 2 and Rikeya up to 3. And rocking another copy of Abominable, and then adding another copy of Imperm if you're going to remove the DP engine. And you could also fit in a second copy of Anguish into the extra deck, and you could also fit in maybe another Nightmare like a Cerberus to replace the DPE if you choose not to run it. However, this is my list, and well, that's it. It's an absolute blast to play, and hopefully I can make more fun decks like this. See ya. Ciao.